can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this.
Welcome back.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
David, I cannot run the computer during these things. And poor David, I swear, he's like on the computer. And everybody says, well, Trish, if David can't handle it, we'll teach Trish. And David says, no, don't even let her.
Yeah.
Hey, Pamela, have you seen where a lot of people are buying and making their own silver?
I've seen that. I'm not real familiar with it because I would never trust myself to do that. I saw the picture of the blue man.
Yeah, and the thing is, very early on, a lot of these people were selling silver and calling it the cure. But if you have heavy metals on board and if you have all these dangerous chemicals on board and leaching plastics, really, because every time you drink out of a plastic water bottle, you're getting the plastic unless it's a non-BPA plastic. So very early on, a lot of people were just making their own silver and buying silver. And I said, no, don't do that. That's a dangerous practice. And you could get very, very sick from that. And the other thing was that a lot of people were just spraying Raid on their skin. They were getting so desperate and doing some pretty unsafe things. And I think that's a lot of the reason why I'm not on any of these chat boards. I'm not on any of the chat boards out there for this disease because of the fact that when I was in there very early on trying to say, hey, whoa, come on, you guys, this is dangerous. And they didn't want to hear from a medical professional, so they just shut me off.
They wanted to say, no, let us hurt ourselves.
Right, absolutely. Let us do what we want to do. We don't need somebody telling us what to do. And it has been quite a ride. There's another product, and it forms chlorine dioxide. If you want, that's like drinking pool shock, and it's an isolate, and it's dangerous. And I suggest that people stay away from that stuff, because you're not going to balance your terrain by tearing it to pieces. And as you're balancing your terrain or you're working on your body, it should be gentle and it should be gradual, because you'll have a Herxheimer reaction because you're clearing all this debris out of your body and these toxins and waste. And so your gut, your body will have a Herxheimer reaction. Have you seen a lot of patients that have leaky gut syndrome?
I don't see patients, but my friend and myself, I have one friend who was diagnosed with leaky gut syndrome. She was a dental assistant, dental hygienist. She had lesions all over her face, in her hair, all over her neck and chest because of the dental toxins. She is cleared on her face, cleared almost completely 100%.
Wow.
And from doing this, what we are discussing, balancing and removing toxins and healing, using healing herbs and vitamins as needed in small amounts, like you said, as needed. So she was
That's just so incredible.
It is incredible, and it used to be, everybody would say, no, you couldn't find a practitioner. That's silly anymore. You call Metametrics and you'll get close. If you're going to be picky, and you want to go into an office and stand on a table and shout, I've got Morgellons, and I'm going to hold up a sign and I'm going to shoot somebody or something, if you don't listen, that's silly. If you want to go to somewhere
if you're running into the office saying this is global depopulation and they're trying to depopulate the globe, I mean, you're not going to get anywhere with that.
No, it's silliness. But any more Metametrics labs will refer you to a practitioner who is holistic-minded, will treat the whole body, is used to seeing people with things that they do not understand. So there's no reason to, there's just a way to do it. Don't go in and act like a wild person and expect to be treated normally. So that she was diagnosed, to go back with leaky gut syndrome, but they never went anywhere with it because she had such good results clearing away the toxins from dental things.
That's wonderful. There's also a website called Morgellons Joe, and I would recommend that anybody go to that site also. Pamela's website, and she has a lot of friends, is morgellonsfocusonhealth.com. And I'm so honored to know you, Pam, because you didn't give up, and you tracked people down. You're the one that got through to people when nobody else could. And a lot of the papers that are being put out there about Morgellons, a couple of peer-reviewed papers have come out, and it's so much more than what they're saying it is. And it's just rehashing everything we already knew, but in different verbiage. So anyways, I would take some of this stuff that you're reading out there with a grain of salt. The other thing is people need to realize that antibiotics serve their purpose. But if you don't build up the terrain of the human body, if you don't clear out the toxins and build up your body, then antibiotics are I've never seen anybody cured with full-range antibiotics.
Well, you need to be tested, too, to see which bacteria you have.
That's right.
Like metrics, so that you can see which antibiotic will kill the bacteria. So it is, as we say, it's like a process. And if you need it, it will be for a time to clear away what is there.
Right.
Well, an antibiotic is sort of like what gives the microbe an opportunity to successfully attack the human body is that the body is susceptible in some way. So the antibiotic may kill it, but it doesn't remove the underlying cause of what made the body susceptible to attack to begin with. And that's where the preventative treatment comes in.
Correct.
Absolutely. And
Correct.
You see, everybody has, early on when my friends and myself started the functional medicine testing with Nancy Guberti, we had some criticism that everybody had these imbalances and things. But it started showing early on that we had high oxidative stress, adrenal stress, we had problems with fatty acid assimilation, and we had taxonomy unknown fungus or parasite. It would switch off. And we had people showing up with high plastics in their body, high mercuries in their body. So it is, David, it's exactly that. I and my friends, it's constant balancing of these things and building the body back up so that it can, hopefully, like Trisha says, fight for itself. If you make the body weak, then it can't fight, and especially with Morgellons people.
And that's where the AMA isn't looking into the toxicity as a potential cause for the breakdown of the body that makes it susceptible to the illnesses that it's suffering from. And it's a neglect of the medical system because now we've got these superbugs that are resistant to everything, and we wouldn't have had developed these things with the antibiotics if we'd actually gone in and looked at the real problem that's causing the whole situation to begin with.
Absolutely, and I think dis-ease, period. Just think about it. What is it? Dis-ease. Dis-ease can be treated, and it doesn't always have to be with antibiotics. Now, I am totally not against antibiotics when necessary. Like when pneumonia, I had to get on an antibiotic. But when it comes to emergency medicine, I love emergency medicine because it saves lives.
Absolutely.
But I think for chronic disease, we need to start looking at our diet. We need to start looking at our mineralization because minerals are crucial. We need to start looking at the vitamins and herbals that will attack and basically that will help detox the body.
Well, as you're taking your antibiotic, you're taking probiotic, right?
I'm on probiotics all the time. But when I got really sick is when I had to get antibiotics because I couldn't breathe. It was that bad. So in that case, I had no problem taking an antibiotic for 7 days. That was it. She wouldn't give me any more. And it pretty much knocked it right out. And then she asked me, what vitamins are you taking? And I said, well, I take sulfur, I take minerals, I take CoQ10, I do a good bowel cleanse once every 2 months. But the bottom line was this was a very nasty flu that's been going around, and people are getting real, real sick. So the other thing is I don't line up for vaccines either. I never have really wanted all these vaccines. And when you're in nursing, you have to have vaccines. That's why I don't work in a hospital anymore, and I don't like the corporate culture. And that's why I, as an RN, I'd rather be independent and work with other people. My eventual goal for my life is to sell my business and teach somebody how to make the products correctly and then be able to travel and talk about not only Morgellons but also the Gulf oil spill. And I think that people need to be educated as to what to do and how to deal with it. So
your heart really lives there, Trisha, with the Gulf. I mean, I've been with you when you've discussed the Gulf and the disaster and the way the oil companies are treating the planet, and particularly where we live here in Florida because we're so close to it. And you've cried. I've seen you break into tears, guffawing into just torrential grief over this whole thing. And you've done so much. I've been with you when you've traveled up to Alabama and gone to meetings with Ricky Ott. You've gone to the meetings with the Coast Guard and gone out on the beaches and gotten arrested and almost arrested and so many different, you know. I know what you want to do. You just want to. You don't even want to. People talk about, well, you're in it for the money, and you don't even. You want to shut your business down, for crying out loud. You want to dedicate your life to doing this, and more power to you, Trisha.
Yeah.
You know, I think we're all saying the same thing, too, is that there are so many toxins and pesticides and poisons in the world right now that I think it is the new stream of medicine that will be looking at those things, such as the oil spills, the dental toxins, the GMOs, the molds. Just look at the storms over on the coast, in the buildings, what's happening to those buildings, and pesticides and plastics.